let's jump into the good, the bad, and the ugly of PalWorld, so you can make an informed decision on where to spend your hard-earned cash. PalWorld has taken the gaming industry by storm, or has it? There are plenty of articles that make it seem that way, but only time will actually tell. The game has sold much less than AAA studios, but it has sold more and faster than a lot of indie games. Currently, there are around 12 million sold, and that is really good for an indie company. To put this into perspective though, Grand Theft Auto 5 sold 190 million copies. Ark Survival Evolved sold between 20 and 40 million copies, and Ark Ascended has sold between 1 to 2 million so far. So, for an indie company and an early access game, the sales are a good sign. As I have played through PalWorld, taming, building, exploring, fighting, and experimenting with mechanics, I've had a good and bad experiences. So one of the good experiences would be the controller support. I enjoy controller support in games even when I'm playing on PC. I grew up on consoles. It's what I like. I can use keyboard and mouse if needed, but it's just more comfortable. Anyway, while the controller configuration layout is a little unintuitive, it mostly works. And then in the UI, you can use the controller in the UI. For those of you who've never worked in Unreal Engine and try to make a controller work in the UI, it is extremely hard to do, and the fact that they had someone take the time to make a controller work with their UI is a really good sign. For any of you who've ever played other games that are built in Unreal Engine that are survival-like games or made by an indie company with their UI, such as Ark, you'll notice that the UI wasn't fully controller supported. I think Ark ASA may be closer now because it's also on console, but you get the idea. They took time to do something that's hard to do in Unreal Engine, take a lot of hours to make work, and put it in the early access game. So that's great. PalWorld has a lot to do and will keep you busy for hours on end. Depending on how you play, will change the number of hours, of course. If you like to learn everything on your own, you can get around 120 hours of gameplay. If you watch videos first and try to speedrun the game, you can get to the end of what's available in around 40 to 60 hours. I am sure speedrunners can get to the end even faster, but that's a different type of gamer. And to make PalWorld even better, if you invite some of your friends into the world to play with you, the game becomes even better. After all, it's always more fun to share the experience, most of the time. A few other things PalWorld does well is PalWorld has an enemy raid system where at random times enemy AI will come to your base and raid it, and try to defeat all your pals that are out and about. This is similar to Valheim and makes the game more fun. Developers also update the game often and fix issues as quickly as they can, and they've also got a decent roadmap laid out, which is very promising. This is a really good sign, at least with the concept updates and fixes, because that means they have yet to abandon the game, and the chances of it being a money grab are lessened. That is where it starts to get a little gray. The game is in early access, and the devs have no responsibility to finish the game or keep their promises. The game has several different art styles that do not match up. To make it worse, the environment is just a free environment from Unreal Engine. The reason this is bad is because this is a red flag. This is something game devs that are planning on leaving their game in early access and just money grabbing do. But there are usually other signs. So hopefully this is something they address going forward and fill in the world with the same style as their pals and characters. And by stylizing the environment and creating a style that matches the pals and characters, they can reduce the number of polygons and vertices in the world, therefore increasing the performance on the player in and making the game function better, especially for the majority of Steam users and console users because they all have about the same power. Not everyone has the 4080 or the 4090. Right, and currently there are a lot of bugs in the game. This is to be expected with early access games, but you need to be aware of them before buying the game. The combat is a bit lacking. The PAL animations are either late, do not happen, or just do not match up to the attack they are using, making it hard to send the correct signifiers to the player so the player knows how to react. On top of animation issues, the AI is not very well made. It is a very simple AI that oftentimes gets confused and switches into the wrong behavior tree. A lot of times when fighting the pals, they will just switch into the walking animation state and forget they were fighting me. Sometimes pals just end up teleporting around in fights, vanishing altogether, or getting stuck. And on top of that, everything is easily kited. As the game currently stands, combat is a bit lacking and needs quite a bit of work. Currently, if you place work tables, containers, or any other interactable objects close together, it becomes hard to use them. The game only wants to let you access one of them. This can be solved by spreading everything out quite a bit but doing that makes it hard to get nice builds and create compact storage and crafting areas. Building in and of itself does not work good, and it can be frustrating to get the proper snap points to make the builds you want. On top of that, roofs or ceilings can be considered in the way of placing a table or bed and so on below them on the foundation. And this is just so you have to build everything first and then put the roofs on later, which is a minor inconvenience but one that should be addressed. Of course, PalWorld is plagued with issues that come with Unreal Engine 5, and while these are not the game developer's fault, they are the developer's problem. There is an issue with getting AI to walk on objects that are not baked into the level. So for instance, an open world sandbox game where you can change the environment or build, those changes do not update with the nav mesh, therefore the AI cannot walk across those changes. So nav meshes are not updating when a custom structure is added, such as roof, stairs, foundation, and so on. The AI cannot step up onto them very well, and oftentimes it's just completely blocked. This issue really hampers building creativity and making your place look beautiful, and of course interferes with pals moving around. It can also be used to cheese the enemies. And yes, while that is a choice the players can make if they choose to cheese the enemies and make the game easier for themselves, oftentimes the players using the cheesing methods will complain that the game was too easy. So this is something that needs to be addressed in the future, and just so you know, it's in the game now. The game is also plagued with the performance issue that comes with Unreal Engine 5. While the developers avoided some of the higher performance cost features, as they are not really needed in this style of game, there are still issues. Unreal Engine 5 is not optimized for games quite yet. And if you think about it, Unreal Engine 3 at the end was optimized for the games at the time. And then they created Unreal Engine 4, which suddenly wasn't optimized for the games at the time, and it took them until about 4.18 to get really good for games. Now, here we are with Unreal Engine 5, having the same issues. Any game developer working in Unreal Engine 5 is going to have to try and work around, or try and fix themselves, let Epic Games know what's going on, hope they can put out a fix work quick enough. On top of that, there is a memory leak issue, and the servers need to be restarted every few hours or the performance just gets worse and worse. Now, I know there are a lot of videos out there talking about how many FPS players are getting with PalWorld. I'm unsure how they're doing it though. With an RTX 4080 NVIDIA card, a processor with 8 cores, 3.4 GHz, and 32 GB of RAM playing at 1080 resolution. Keep in mind, the higher the resolution, the less FPS you will get. The game bounces between 50 and 60 FPS. While this is not bad, it's not amazing, and leaves the majority of players with even worse performance. According to Steam, the majority of gamers are using a 3060 or weaker card. Then console is sitting at around the power of a 2070, which came out about 6 years ago and wasn't that powerful of a card when it came out. So a huge market has much weaker cards. And unfortunately, the developers chose the wrong engine version to build a game in for weaker cards. Unreal Engine 5 is meant for the future cards and consoles, not the current ones. What this means for the developers is more work to fight against the engine to get their game optimized. So while Unreal Engine 5 is just costing more hours and work for the devs, they may need to take a step back and decide how hard would it really be to rebuild their game in Unreal Engine 4.27. 4.27 would work a lot better, would optimize a lot of things, would give them a much finer tuned game engine that works on the current consoles and works on the current graphics cards. It may still be cheaper for the developers just to keep fighting Unreal Engine 5 rather than rebuilding their game in 4.27, though I doubt the code would really be that hard to rebuild, whereas their assets, animations, and all that should just be able to import just fine. So then all they have to do is remake the map and then rebuild the code. But if this was actually coded and not in blueprints, then it shouldn't be too hard to transfer that code over. Now, if PalWorld starts costing too much just to get it into a releasable state, there is a very good chance the developers just move on and never finish it. There is also a high probability that the game will never leave early access, and that in a few months the devs will stop updating it. The current updates may only be happening to bring in more sales. In the past, once the sales started declining, the PalWorld developers moved on. Their last few releases never made it out of early access. On top of this, they have already released a trailer for their next game. This is a bad sign. Usually a game company sticks with their game for a few years after completing the game. Already releasing a trailer for a new game means they've already had their main team move on, and what's left is just there to patch and update any issues. Future content is unlikely. Now, is that actually the case? It's hard to say. It would follow in the company's patterns, but only time will tell if this game is going to break that pattern. Just understand, they have a tendency to abandon their games and rarely add content beyond what was in the game after a few months of early access. So if you buy the game, know what you are buying is what is currently available and have no expectations of anything else. As a monster-catching open-world sandbox game, PalWorld has a decent amount in it and is quite a bit of fun. In my opinion, the $30 price tag is not bad. It's a little too high, but not bad for the content available. I have hopes that the PalWorld devs will keep improving and adding on to the game and bring a new era of amazing games. After all, PalWorld has a lot of potential, and there's rumors that Microsoft might be invested in PalWorld and trying to buy it. If that happens, we may see great things come out of PalWorld. Now I'll leave you with a preview of our PalWorld playthrough coming soon to my Let's Play channel. So make sure to head over there and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day. See, our pals are finally using their hot tub. We built them. Oh, this guy was going a little insane, so there he goes. Hopefully that helps him build his sanity back up. A motivational leader, but a coward at the same time.
Aww, don't be like me, guys. Bye. Look at him. Oh my god.
Oh, so only one can use it at a time.
Sleeping.
Oh, only one can use them at a time. You want to sleep in the hot tub?
Yes. Oh, look at it.
Nice. When we get some more,
Get in here and take a picture. It's a family picture. Por favor. Left bumper. Ooh, y'all are cute. Whoa, they don't care about me at all.
No, they don't.
Oh, right, he's on attack. Focus team enemy. Oh, I want to catch one.
Oh, they're strong.
Yeah.
What did it say these guys were?
Fangirls is what it said, but
fangirls?
they're lavenders. But, yeah. Oh. I was gonna catch that one and my helper killed it. Okay, turn off my helper. Man, don't attack. Anybody left? Darn. Darn, y'all are too good. That's a good problem to have. Wait, it says there's somebody up there. I'm going for it. Unless you want.
I caught one.
Oh, that's the one I was going for. Okay, good job. No, you're down there. Oh. Weird. Made it sound like it was gonna be over there. Oh well. Well, good. We got one. That's the important part.
Woo.
Yay! Wonderful.
Oh man, these raids are crazy. Like happening all the time now.
Yes, I think I'm gonna guess it's some kind of like percent chance to happen. At a base every so often. So when you're going back and forth in bases, you know, you're upping it.
Oh, maybe.
Because that wasn't crazy otherwise.